And if you're only joining us now on Facebook Live, then welcome as well. I'm Reverend G. I'm the minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Church here in Portage. So Miriam did tell me what she was going to talk about. And not exactly, but kind of. And so I knew that it was going to be a lot of numbers with a lot of zeros. And I know my relationship with numbers, like I'm a minister. You know, I didn't become an engineer, pharmacist, any of those things, because numbers and I don't do well together. So I did my own digging to make sense a little bit of what Miriam was going to say, make sense to my simpleton brain. And this is what I found. And this is from Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said, 1 glass of water has more molecules than there are glasses of water in the universe. Okay, so 1 glass of water has more molecules than there are glasses of water in the universe. This is also what he said. 1 breath has more molecules than there are breaths in the universe. So 1 breath has more molecules than there are breaths in the universe. And that I could grasp a little bit with my simple mind. And because of what Miriam said, it's true, and we can indeed imagine that a molecule has passed through us that has been in somebody else or in something else, and that the breath we share, I mean, we literally share it, and we share it with all that there is. All that there was and all that there will be. And so hatred becomes a very weird thing, because I hate you, but I inhale what you exhaled. I love you. I'm happy to inhale what you exhaled. But you understand there's all this interconnectedness. And it would make sense to me that instead of breaking it down into I hate this, I love that, how do I heal it all? How do I heal it all so I don't struggle when I have the thought that we share everything? Instead, I am delighted that we can. I am delighted that it is all set up in a way that sharing feels good. It's a change of perspective, right? It's a shift in perspective. And the problem is that we don't always have perspective, because we are in our tiny little worlds with we have a lot of thoughts through a day, but we only pay attention to the familiar ones. So, tiny little world of ours with our few thoughts that we do pay attention to, and then we develop a tunnel vision, and we end up lacking perspective. Will you please share the slide, Joe? This is a shift of perspective. This picture was taken on December 24, 1968. So it was taken by an astronaut who was orbiting the moon on Apollo 8. On Apollo 8. And they had been orbiting moon for a while, quite a few times. And then this one time, they came around again and Earth, our Earth, became visible. And it occurred to them, let's just snap a picture of this. So they snapped a few shots, and then the film, because it's 1968, it's not a digital era, the film sat in that camera for a few days, then they returned to Earth, and they developed the film, and voila. This became known to all human beings. This was broadcast, and it gave us a different perspective. All of a sudden, we saw Earth as it was naturally meant to be. Notice how there's blue, then there's some land there, a lot of clouds. What I don't see is borders. Like normally when you have a globe at home, it says Canada, US, Europe. I don't see that. From this perspective, the division is not at all visible. 1968. What a Christmas gift. It was taken on December 24th. What a Christmas gift to just give us a totally different perspective, where you can tell that it's all one, that there is no separation whatsoever. In fact, from here, it just makes no sense that anybody down there would be at war with each other, that we would fight over resources when those are everywhere to be shared. So did this then translate into a change here on Earth? So let's look back what happened in those years. Well, we know that in 1969 we did land on the moon. So there was, first of all, a desire to explore space. But then what happens in 1970? The EPA is established. In 1971, Doctors Without Borders. How did they come up with that name? Doctors Without Borders. If you look at a globe, all you see is borders. And all of a sudden, they have this name, Doctors Without Borders. Maybe this picture here inspired Doctors Without Borders. Like we care for it all. Why should we say that we only heal these and we don't heal those? That only these can deserve help, but those don't. So it's Doctors Without Borders. The Clean Air Act was passed just a little bit before, but it's enacted. In 1973, the catalytic converter is introduced. So all of a sudden, we start caring about the environment because we are realizing how interconnected we are. The sciences are very heavily subsidized. So scientific research in this era is very heavily subsidized, encouraged. And then the years go by, go on, and as humans would and tend to, we get used to it, and we lose what? We lose perspective. And then we start burning books, and we start saying that science is no good. We question science, and then we question scientists, and then we say, oh, all this exploration of space is not worth it. We have enough problems here on Earth. Why would we look there? But of course, a lot of the things that these scientists have discovered while exploring space, we were able to implement those discoveries and solve problems here on Earth. So looking up is just as important as looking down and looking around. Because we are not just part of that little Earth there, we're also part of the entire universe. It's all one. Exploring it all, understanding it all, would benefit us all. So,